Welcome back, everyone, to Grand Tactician, the Civil War. After a break because I couldn't get my game to load after the latest update, it did corrupt my save file. I had to go back to the previous save, which was before the last episode. I replayed a couple of weeks, won some battles, brought us back to October, but it's a slightly different October. The biggest difference is that I haven't won a major victory in the Richmond area. So we're still dealing with an issue there. And I want to talk a little bit about the strategic situation because we do have some real issues that I'm trying to deal with. And in order to do that effectively, we need to take a look at the front line map. Here's the first big problem. My armies in Richmond are effectively surrounded. They've got a little bit of a lifeline over here, but with the blockade at the sea, with him controlling eastern North Carolina, big problems there. Also, there's an army, I think it's called the Army of New York, that is down in around the Jacksonville area in Florida. And so what I've done is I've split off a division from the Army of the West and a division from the Army of Tennessee to form a new army, the Army of Mississippi under Stonewall Jackson, who has recovered from his wound. They're in the process of going down, and they're going to first confront this Union Army in the Jacksonville area. They're going to defeat them, and then once that's done, we're going to send them up into North Carolina to recover this territory, and then hopefully they'll help us with the Virginia situation. Speaking of, take a look at support. Support in Virginia is basically non-existent. It's pretty low in Tennessee and North Carolina right now, so we've got to deal with those issues. Now, thankfully, there is some good news to report. And that is in the form of a French army that is about to take St. Louis. They've driven off. Of course, I think that's just the headquarters of the Army of the Ohio. French Expeditionary Corps is taking St. Louis. That's one of the largest cities in the north. It's a level 10 city. You can compare that, for example, to Philadelphia as a level 9. Washington's 9. St. Louis is 10. That's huge, huge points and a big impact on the level of taking Baltimore. So that'll help a lot. We've got all the new patron units recruited. I'm taking a look at the economy. I've been queuing up some new farms. That's one of the issues we're having right now. And I love that this has really very much become as much an economy sim as it is a military sim, and I'm excited to dive into a brand new playthrough when this campaign's over and have these tools at my disposal from the very start, because I think they really do impact the game in significant ways, and the ways in which you can play and the replayability of it, because there's so many factors here. Our coffee production is pretty short of what we need. You can see production shortages versus demand. And our production is pretty short versus demand in almost everything. You also see there it says ineffective companies. And what that means is those companies are losing money, and you see how much they're losing. That means we're pouring more resources into the company than the value of the resources that are coming out of the company. There's a lot of factors for that. One is supply. You have to look for transport bottlenecks. Another is the lack of having the goods they need, or just the value of the goods they're producing is lower than the value of what they're consuming. So all of those are a factor, and I'll be honest, I'm still learning my way through the economic part of this game, but we'll figure it out as we go along. This Fort Hooker outside of Richmond keeps changing hands every so often. The main problem I'm dealing with right now is I can't get the 1st and 2nd Corps' readiness up to the state where they can be effective at all. They're unhappy, they're low on food, and a lot of that has to do with the fact they're cut off. So part of me actually is thinking maybe it makes more sense to send Jackson to North Carolina first. I don't know if we've got a way to get him there by train, but I think that's probably the direction that we need to go. All right, the French have taken St. Louis, and, well, have they? Yeah, they have. It's controlled by the French now, and they're marching into Illinois. This is fantastic news. Longstreet, I guess I moved him a little closer to Richmond. We're in the process of fighting here with the Army of the West against the 1st Corps, and Stonewall Jackson is going to go up and get on a train, hopefully here, as soon as we get, yep, there's the rail, so that's going to move him quickly. Cape Cod Bay Squadron 4 disintegrates. That's some good news right there. So we fought a battle on the sea. I don't know if that was us or if it was the British that took them on, but either way, it was good news. So we're sending help. We're going to get over there to rally. See, glorious victory at Fort Hooker. It keeps going back and forth like that. But we definitely have to get help to the Army of Northern Virginia. We've got to deal with the Virginia situation once and for all. So looking right now, there's just the 1st Corps here of the Army of the Tennessee, sitting outside of my Army of Tennessee, where I've got 2 forts here. Forts that don't necessarily have a lot of men. We got to get Fort Hubbard some manpower here. So let's go ahead and switch over to our forts for a second and get some units in there. Take a little while for that to happen, but in the meantime, Army of Tennessee, we're going to move on this 1st Corps. I've got a base of supply here. They're unhappy, but that's kind of everybody right now. So I'll move on them. We'll see if we can't inflict some heavy casualties on this 1st Corps and maybe start to threaten the Union in such a way that we can draw some forces off. My whole goal right now is relieve Virginia, fix the situation there, because I'm doing all right everywhere else, and draw some of those armies off of Virginia and get them out here in the west where I can deal with them a little better. And this is a good place to start because we've got a big advantage here. All right, we actually can go on the defensive to win this battle, but I'm not interested in defending. I'm interested in destroying as much of that army as I possibly can. And he's going to be coming in from up here, probably down this road right here. So the better I can do at getting on... Oh, he's right there. Okay. So let's deploy based on that. Okay, so the tricky part here, of course, is I can't get my army as far advanced on the left side as I'd like. But otherwise, I think we're in really good shape here. We're going to dig in on this side. This is where I'm a little worried because he's got a lot of firepower here. So the 51st Highlanders are going to have a lot to deal with to start. But we're going to try to get over there and get them as much help as we can, as quickly as we can. So I'm going to actually move this division over here into a reserve position, but we'll send one of their brigades forward, the High Pressure Brigade, 7th Mississippi. And I'm going to throw a little cav over here just to cover my flank, but this is where the main attack's going to be because he doesn't have much over here except artillery. Here we go. We're instantly in combat. I should have given these guys long-range orders to start. I want to get these guys up to the fence here as quick as I can. Pull the Doubletree Widows up. Stand Waddy and the 1st Cherokee. Pull them up as well. Let's bring the Queen's Own Hussars over here on the right flank. So he's advancing. I think those are just skirmishers, yeah. Alright, Braxton Bragg with the Gordon Brigade there. You got Clayton's Seaforth Brigade. They're about to hit Iron Discipline too. Casualties are going to be pretty even for a while. Oh, you know what? This is a replacement depot. These guys shouldn't even be on the front lines. I wondered why their weapons were so terrible. That's why. Now, too late now. I've already got them in the action. Let's go, Hanson. Get them up there. Watch Bragg. He's right at the center of things. They're probably going to take the most casualties. Come on, get up here, dude. consolidating here a little bit, so I think we're going to try to get out and on his flank. We're actually taking more casualties, but in a battle where I've got 2-to-1 odds on numbers, it's not as huge a concern as it might otherwise be. London volunteers taking 300 casualties so far. I'm going to pull this unit back that's not even supposed to be on the front line and replace them with the Rebel Sons of Erick, who should be. By the way, while I'm thinking about it, big day on the Vlogging Through History channel. I'm going to hit 300,000 subscribers today, which is amazing, and I'm grateful. I know many of you subscribe to both channels. I never in my wildest dreams thought that in just a year and a half of making content for that channel I would hit 300,000. So we're doing a big celebration stream today beginning at 3 p.m. Eastern. And as things stand, we're about 100 away. There's a good chance we'll hit 300,000 during that stream, so that's pretty cool. Alright, Hussars are finally getting into place, I think. Oh, that's why they're taking so long, because they're attached directly to Beauregard, the Army commander. So let's move him more to the center. We're shifting more towards victory here. His morale's higher. But we've got the numbers. If this were an even battle, I might be a little bit concerned. But since we've got the numbers on the field, I'm not as worried. Those guns are out of action. Yep, they are. So we actually can move over this way. London volunteers, 500 casualties. They're alright otherwise, though. We gotta get these Tennessee boys up on this fence. Start putting some fire on this battery. Number's still even, but that's double the casualty percentage for him as it is for me. And morale's about to take a swing in my direction. First Napoleon's guns making their first appearance in a battle. Got the Semmes Horse Artillery back here, and the 2-130 Kansas Artillery. Lots of firepower right here in the center. Watching the London volunteers, they're taking a lot of casualties. As is the Gordon Brigade. Everybody else doing okay. We're waiting for this order to get here to Hanson. Just gotta keep up the fire. Specific numbers. I want to look at the guns for a second. We've taken out 30 of his guns. We haven't lost a single one. That's pretty important for the overall scheme of things. So I'm going to speed things up now because the battlefield's pretty static. I don't see any of our units that are anywhere close to breaking. Usually you'll start to see that solid color get a little more clear, I guess you would say. Less color to it when you're starting to have concerns about breaking. But that doesn't appear to be the case, and it looks like he's withdrawing. He's figured out he can't win. He just doesn't have the numbers. Inflicted 5,000 enemy casualties, lost about 4,200, but that's a quarter of his army. So big deal. Just freeze up central Kentucky. I don't think I'll pursue, though. Maybe I will with the cavalry. Let's try to hit these guns and this brigade that's breaking. There's the retreat. Beautiful. 28%. We could turn this into a major victory if we hit 30%. Oh, we just wiped out a battery. What's the percentage at, though? 28.7. We need more casualties. Mount up, Queen's Own Hussars. You may be the ones that can turn this into a major victory. We gotta inflict 1 more % of casualties in the next 7 minutes. Come on, hurry up. Oh, it's at 29.7. Oh, man. No! Oh, we were so close. All we needed was 30%, but I'm not going to complain. That ended up, at the very end, turning into a more unbalanced casualty figure in my favor, so that's good. Okay, so glorious victory at New Madrid. That just means we drove him off from the siege that he was trying to put on Fort Woodbury. Army of the West, once we can get them to a higher readiness state, we can move them back up to Cairo. That'll give us an army in southern Illinois as well as the French army, which is now heading toward Indianapolis. What are they doing? I love it. That's drawing off a lot of pressure. I just wish it would draw off pressure in the east. Where are the British forces, by the way? Haven't seen. The Army of Canada is still somewhere in central Pennsylvania with 23,000 men. British Expeditionary Corps with 29,000 is somewhere down around Harrisburg. So it seems like we should be getting more help in the east than we are. We're watching Stonewall Jackson and the Army of Mississippi. Yeah, see, the Fort Hooker thing continues to go back and forth. There's an Army of Rhode Island moving up the peninsula with 13,000 men. Jackson still doesn't have his whole force because his force is made up of units. See what I mean? It just goes back and forth. Made up of units that are going back and forth, or that are transferred from another army, and they're just not quite with his army yet, and his readiness is completely 0. Let's get an ambulance corps going there, because he's got 5,000 disabled men, and he's only got 6,000 in the army right now. He's waiting for the rest to arrive. Well, you can see the Union's definitely pursuing the French Expeditionary Corps now. So now is our chance. We've got to make some advances here. First things first, we're going to march up with the Army of Tennessee. We're going to hit that first corps again. We're going to try to come to the relief of the French, who have certainly come to our relief. I can't move the Army of East Tennessee yet until we get this fort done. It's still got 57 days. I don't know if I can wait that long. We might just have to go out and go after the 4th Corps. We've got 46,000 men in the Army of East Tennessee. I don't think we need that many in that force. We may have to transfer some of those units to someone else who may be in more need. Army of Tennessee has 43,000. Army of East Tennessee. Let's turn off the garrisons for a second. Yeah, that's a much bigger force than I realized. A lot of that's the replacement depot, so let's get everybody built back up and then we'll see where we're at. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to transfer Nathan Bedford Forrest's division. It's got the 69th Thomas, the Lone Star Brigade, and the Flanders Flock. We're going to transfer them to Stonewall Jackson's new Army of the Mississippi. I think he probably needs them a little more, and it's going to take 4 days for them to get there. Not a huge deal, though Jackson may be in combat before those 4 days are up, because he's heading right toward the Army of the Hudson, which is operating somewhere in this region. That question mark is based on our last spotting of them, which was 3 days ago. But I'm sure we're going to run into them here really, really soon. Alright, the Army of the Kanawha is starting to make a move back toward Lynchburg. We've got Jackson's Army of Mississippi moving toward Raleigh. So things are heating up in the Eastern Theater. In the meantime, we're going to hit that 1st Corps of the Army of Tennessee again. This is the same army we hit them with earlier. We're just going to pound them into oblivion and help relieve pressure on the French, who are marching through the western part of the northern states right now. The Battle of Hartford being fought on the Springfield map. We have no idea where he is. It could be anywhere in this area here. The objective... Is there an objective? Oh, it's right here. Yeah, so there's a good chance he'll come to us if we just sit tight, but I'm not one for sitting tight. Although it makes more sense probably to do so in this case. I think I'll bring Buckner's division up over here. All right, there he comes. He is on this side, so we'll bring Buckner's division around, and we're going to try to get up in behind him. I didn't really do anything with these guys to prepare because I thought I had some room where I'd be maneuvering. But I guess we need to get into position because the fight's about to commence. There's a battery coming down here by its lonesome. Let's pause for a second because I want to assign a perk and give them melee cold steel. And then send them up to go deal with that battery. And actually there's a couple batteries there. So Zollicoffer's division's probably going to be on the front line of this thing. Let's start moving them into position. Let's get our guns up somewhere where they can be of use. And the Queen's Own Hussars are going to take care of these batteries. Oh, they broke. Darn it. Alright. That's alright. Sometimes that happens when you charge. I get it. They did take out the battery, though. It's because this second battery put themselves in position and started firing on them. Okay, Galveston Greenbacks are in the lead on this one. I'm going to give them deadly volley. Move Gruber's guards over here to cover my flank. Get the 1st Tennessee up here so they can start firing on this detachment of skirmishers as well. And then we'll move Doubletree Widows up here on the flank. Alright, we'll move Standwater forward, and we'll move Magruder in on the side. Buckner's still moving into position. We're gonna get him to cross up there and put a flank attack on them. This is our replacement division, so they're gonna stay back there. Right now it's just skirmishers coming forward. Again, big difference in manpower, 43,000 to 18,000. So even if we suffer slightly more casualties, it's not a huge deal. I think we can go ahead and speed things up here. The Argyle Brigade's firing on this battery that's still caught down there in the river. There is some cavalry coming up for him. Interesting, he's actually got units that are in the process of crossing, and we're going to hit them. Let's redirect the Tennessee Irish over here to face off against this cavalry. And Gladden's already, that's the Flemish Lions, they're pushing toward the Union that's over there. Oh, what's going on here? Come on, Ledbetter, start firing on these guys. Alright, let's push up. What's going on here? Cavalry's gonna regret trying to cross there. Alright, we're gonna send the Rebel Sons of Aaron to charge these guys. It's a really small force. 2nd Brigade only has 500 men. We might just wipe them out. Going on here, but Bragg needs to get his house in order a little bit. By giving a charge order, I actually can supersede instantly what they're doing. Even though it's not the best to charge from all the way back here, it causes them to instantly obey the order, and I don't have to worry about order delays. So even if the Gordons under Bragg are going to have an issue here, sending the Tennessee Irish in behind should have the desired effect on these guys. Or both my units will break. Nope. I think we took care of him. Why is Ledbetter losing so many men? Where is he? Oh, he's right up here, that's why. Oh, dang. Let's pull him back. Well, I was really disjointed because I didn't get my men into position where I wanted them. And so I spent half the battle trying to reform my lines, and that really kind of messed things up. Lost 2,400 men, inflicted 4,000 casualties, but again, like the last battle, that's a quarter of his men. And he can't keep losing men like that and still have any presence in Kentucky at this rate. We might actually be able to get Kentucky to secede if we keep this up. Doubletree Widows have their perk. Let's use it. We're going to send the Cherokee Rifles up there. Again, we're going to try to hit them at that 30%. If at all possible, so we can turn this into a major victory. Oh, 31% it's got to be this time. $27. There's the official retreat, so I'm not sure we'll get there. We'll try our best, though. Hit those batteries. 29.5, we're going to be super close again. Come on. We just need to cause a few more casualties. 29.7, we're right where we were before. I think this time we can do it. 30.8, we need 31. There it is. Why is it still minor? Oh, now it says we need to inflict 32. There it is. Needed to inflict 32 without losing 31. Alright, we got the major victory that time. Excellent. 6,500 casualties, so he lost a third of his men. Hunter's losing his entire command at this rate. And Beauregard's got plenty of men. So we may again do a transfer here and take some of the men out of the Army of Tennessee. Maybe send them to the Army of the West. Alright, so you can see he's actually sending some units down toward my Army of East Tennessee, so that's a little bit of a concern, especially since I just took men from that army. Their readiness is completely in the toilet, so we're going to have to pull them back to our supplies, which we have lost. He apparently got in behind me and took my supplies. So I'm actually going to send Beauregard. Oh, he can't. We've got to get his readiness back. As soon as his readiness gets back up, we're going to send him toward Louisville. We just need that readiness to get into the yellow again. What's going on with the French? Oh, they're in Cincinnati now. Oh, man. Being aggressive. I love it. Glorious victory at Baltimore. It says victory, but it's actually a victory for the Union. It says support for the Yankee cause wavers. I don't understand that because it says the Battle of Baltimore has ended with the British Expeditionary Corps retreating in panic. James Grant, who I guess is... I don't really understand why it says they're retreating in panic and that's a glorious victory, because it's not. A little confusing. I think there's a little error in the script there. Alright, Beauregard. Let's push up toward Louisville. The French hold Cincinnati. What's that mean overall for the strategy? His national morale is 38. Ours is 43. If anybody drops below 25, the war is over. National support's slightly higher for him. Our army morale is higher. The men fielded now, we're up to 312,000. But a lot of those are in garrisons. Battles won. There's casualties. Economy is pretty evenly matched, though. He's got a big advantage from the raw numbers that you see there. All right, Army of Tennessee, we got to get them up to Louisville. That'll help, as does getting the Army of East Tennessee back to their base of supply. I want to pause for a second and see where Stonewall Jackson is. So he has, in fact, engaged in the Battle of Greensboro, but because his readiness is so low, I can't set him to offensive action, so I can't actually control the fighting here, which is really unfortunate. The numbers are pretty even against Abner Doubleday, but I can't control it. So he's got 3 separate units. Well, it's actually, I think, just an Army headquarters and 2 units headed toward the Army of East Tennessee. So that's 30,000 men and 27. That's 56,000 men headed toward my 35,000 man army. But I'm hoping that, how many's in Totten's cavalry? 20,000. I'm hoping that once he sees me moving toward Louisville, one of these corps are going to turn around. Although it may be Totten's cavalry that heads that way. Looks like we're going to be fighting here in just a second with the Army of East Tennessee. The French. All right, we won. So Stonewall Jackson won a victory in Greensboro against the Army of the Hudson. So that's good news. Let's move on to take Raleigh, as we were already starting to do. I'm a little worried about the Army of the Kanawha here because they've got a 3rd corps of 44,000 men and potentially a 2nd corps of another 38,000 in the area. That's way too much for them to deal with. I'm going to pull them back. Army of the Mississippi will move on with its 20,000 men. It looks like they've stopped just short of the Army of East Tennessee. The French, by the way, after taking Cincinnati, are now, they just bypassed Columbus. I'm not sure why. They're moving on Cleveland at this point. They're just super aggressive, and I love it. We're in the process of taking Louisville. And rank of Lieutenant General revived for the Union Army. He's at 39 on national morale. If we could take a few more northern cities, that might be enough to do this. Louisville's going to fall. But we can't get Kentucky to secede unless we defeat all the Union armies that are in Kentucky. Which obviously we're not really in a position to do right now. I want to take these supplies and factories if I can. 35 the national morale dropped to after taking Louisville. Now where's he headed? He might be headed for Pittsburgh. To kind of link up with the British armies. Alright, Army of the Kanawha up against the Union 2nd Corps under Irvin McDowell. He's definitely got the numbers on us, and we've got a pretty poor morale situation. This might be a tough battle, but boy, would this be a huge one toward winning the war if we could win this battle. All right, we've got our work cut out for us. The Battle of Buchanan, Virginia, November 24th, 1863. The objective is back here in the woods, really close to the Union lines. He's got all the advantages in this one. For us to somehow win this battle, Lieutenant General John Pelham's going to have to pull something incredible out. We've got nervous troops, so morale's not good. We are outnumbered heavily by about 50%. So 34,000 to 24,000. My morale's only 31, and we've got to cover a ton of ground and attack. Nothing about this screams victory to me, but we have no choice. We've got to find a way. So we're going to have to take it slow. I'm going to try to get my morale built back up before we go into any kind of an attack. You can see that several of my units are already broken before we even get started. And, I mean, at least one is Pennsylvania Dutch rebels. I don't know why. But if they flee when I've already got a disadvantage, that is not not going to be helpful at all. I'm going to try to rally these guys the best I can. Let's get Pendleton over there. We're going to hit rally every way, shape, and form we can here. Looks like I managed to keep the 1st VMI Grenadiers from retreating all the way, but it looks like the Pennsylvania Dutch rebels are going to keep going. Ah, man, I just don't know why that is happening. They haven't even been in combat. It's just the morale situation was bad. But the rest of my units, it's okay. But it doesn't help to lose another 2,800 men when you're already facing near certain defeat. So I got to try and get through this day, moving slowly, and advancing toward the Union troops, but giving myself a chance to build things back up. And I got to hope that I can maybe catch a piece of his army somewhere and hit them and rout them without having to face the whole thing. Well, the 1 brigade of Pendleton's division left the map, and as soon as it did, the Stanton Rifles panicked, and now the whole division is retreating. So I can't go in with that few number of men. I can't attack outnumbered 3-1. So the unfortunate reality is we're going to have to withdraw from this battlefield. Confederacy issues war bonds. All right, let's go back to our policies now. See what else we might do. There's letters of marque. That'll hurt Union sea trade a little bit. It'll hurt our relations with Europe, but our relations with Europe are already good. Honestly, I think we're going to continue focusing on finances for the time being. And I want to look and see what projects we have available to us. Armored gunboats. We haven't really been focusing on our Navy too much. Administration reform will shorten the time required to activate new policies. Civil order, I don't think that's something we necessarily need to do. Support of our nation in conquered states and territories. That actually, occupation administration, that might be good. Increase cotton production. Railroad construction. No, I don't think so. Subsidize agriculture. That we could use. We can, and it looks like we can actually do 2 levels for that. So let's go ahead and do that. All right, back to the war. Those guys are still parked right outside of my Army of East Tennessee. The Army of Tennessee has taken Louisville. We own Cincinnati as well. We are watching for Totten's cavalry to come down. If he's going to hit me, we need to be prepared for that and fight that battle. Yeah, he's coming after me there. He's got 32,000 men. These are actually going to be pretty even numbers. And I've got a slight advantage. Bring it on. All right, he's right here. So we have, once again, a chance to set up our forces exactly the way we want them in order to engage him. It's in the woods on a hillside. The good news is that we can hopefully get some men right around here and hit him on the flank while we hold the line on this side. Okay, so we're going to hold the line right there. We're going to bring the Highland Division around. And it looks like he's going to adjust based on what he sees me doing. Right now I'm waiting for the long-range fire orders to go out, and then I'm going to send out some skirmishers. I think I might actually advance these guys a little forward. They're sitting on the slope of the hill, and I want to get them on top. We'll get Magruder going, and then we'll see how this plan falls into place. Queen's Own Hussars are going to be sitting out on the flank over here on this side. Oh, what is Buckner doing? No, I don't want you over there. I want you exactly where you were, just forward. Now Stovall's into action. Oh man, they screwed that whole thing up. It was a simple advance order, not shift your whole division 300 yards to the left. Alright, well, it is what it is. Thankfully, we've got one Union brigade that decided to go Leroy Jenkins. So we've got the London Volunteers, the Galveston Greenbacks, and the 10th Tennessee Irish all firing on that one brigade. They're going to light them up. Alright, let's get the Queen's Own Hussars dismounted and into the action. Magruder apparently just decided not to advance at all. Really need to get up on top of this hill. Here's some Union cavalry coming in now. We'll start firing on them. Let's get the Flemish lines moving forward so they can start putting fire on. Come on, Magruder, get moving. Alright, we already broke a Union brigade. We may not even need Magruder for this. Amazing with all the action we've seen that there aren't any brigades that are getting elite status yet. A lot of them are just now getting their perks, even though we're 2 years into the war. It feels like that has slowed down quite a bit. Even though a lot of these units have a ton of experience. See, it shows as an elite unit, but they haven't gone to elite status on their perks. Now the Flemish Lions are about to hit Sharpshooter 3. That'll give them elite status. They don't get that elite flag. We need to get them to do just a little bit more distance shooting. I want to get some fire on this battery. Oh, nice to see you finally moving, Magruder. Let's get Doubletree Widows. Where do we want to send them? I'll send them up this road, and then we'll maybe intercept some of him when he breaks. One unit is still sitting there trying to fight the 3rd Brigade. He's lost 1,800 men. He's got 950 left, and he's still fighting. I mean, those are like Iron Brigade at Gettysburg type casualties, and still standing firm. I mean, they don't even look like they're close to breaking. What is wrong with them? Jeez, they've lost 75%. And they're starting to show a possibility of breaking now. Who is in command of that unit? I'm really curious to know who that is. It's got to be in the 1st Division, 3rd Brigade. Brigadier General George Bayard. Wow. Impressive stand, sir. Hard not to admire that. There he goes. They finally broke. This is going beautifully. 1,800 casualties, 4,800 for the enemy. And this is a pretty substantial size force for the enemy. So it's nice to be able to inflict significant casualties on that force. Because we're going to have to probably shift more and more units east as the situation is going as well as it is in the west. Yeah, this is just like a suicide mission for this division here. I don't know what they're thinking. Flemish Lions are so close to elite status. Who was killed? Stovall, the commander of the 10th Tennessee Irish. Right here. Killed in action. It's all these guns that are up here. got a ton of artillery in that spot there. My goodness. The casualties are mounting up quick now. We've lost 3,100 men, inflicted 7,500. He's falling back now. Alright, we're going to send our cav around here. We're going to mount up the other cavalry. And we're going to pursue. Charge the guns. Let's wipe out those guns. What do we need to make this a major victory? 31 on a 32% to inflict. It's at 27 right now. I'm not sure we'll get there. At least we're going to take out his guns, though, in the process. Alright, charge in there. We're going to take some casualties doing this. We want to turn this into a major victory. 28%. 29.7. I think we'll have it. Oh yeah, we're only at 8%, and we've inflicted over 30%. There's the major victory. So big victories for the Army of Tennessee in central Kentucky. That's making up for the debacle that is Virginia still. At some point, we're probably just going to have to send one of our big Western armies over there to help break that siege on Richmond, that stranglehold they've had. There we go, 3,700 casualties for Beauregard's Army of Tennessee, inflicted 12,000 on General Totten. That's the first time we've encountered that force, so that's a big victory. Not only a victory, but it's a victory in Louisville, which is really kind of northern territory. So now we need to turn Beauregard's force down toward those armies that are facing off against the Army of East Tennessee. We might get ourselves a major battle where we get the Army of Tennessee and the Army of East Tennessee on the same field at the same time. So here's the situation as we wrap up today's episode. He's got 426,000 men in the field now. I don't know that number may represent, I don't know if that includes the British and French soldiers or not, because I feel like I don't have that many men in the field. Maybe it's just all the garrisons. Total casualties, you can see he's got about 100,000 more than I do. And national morale's at 34, so there's a good chance that if we can break the stranglehold on Richmond, if we can drive them out of Kentucky and take Kentucky for the Union, that would hurt national morale by 5 for the Union. That would get them dangerously close to losing the war. If they get under 25, that would drop them down to 29, just that. And then we could, of course, get Missouri, too. That would be another 10 points. Taking Kentucky and Missouri would actually win the war without having to do anything else. But in order to take Kentucky and Missouri, I'm actually surprised we don't have Missouri because I don't see any troops there. Oh, wait. There is a force right here. If we could drive them out of Missouri and we hold St. Louis, that would be enough for Missouri to secede. We could be on the verge of this thing being over, as bad as things have been in Virginia. All right, we'll see. Let me know your thoughts. Use the comment section below. We'll be back again soon with another episode. Thanks for watching.